Hello Aquarius, and welcome to your in-depth monthly horoscope for July 2023. I'm going to give you some standout details to look out for, but please stay with me. I will explore in much greater depth all the key influences particularly relevant to your sign. And this month does provide some really interesting influences around your relationship sector. Venus and Mars are pretty close together for the first 10 days, but then Mercury replaces Mars on the 11th. Mars moves into Virgo on the 10th, and then we have the Sun moving into your sector of relating on the 23rd. Venus does go retrograde on the same day, but I think that's going to be a big theme for you this month. If you are a returning visitor, thank you so much for joining me once more. If you're new here, it's great to have you with me. I'd be honoured if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. Also, if you'd like to get your free daily horoscope fired to your device each morning, please see the link beneath this video. I've been writing these for 28 years, and it would be great if you would like to get yours too. If you would like to ascend above this zodiac broadcast, what you can do by grappling with more serious astrology is provide so much knowledge and understanding of life's patterns that can guide you in your future moves. If you give me 3 pieces of your personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can produce for you your life roadmap report. This will give you intimate understandings of the opportunities you have, but also some of the more challenging patterns that may have repeated themselves. And so a better knowledge of these can help to guide you forwards more successfully. And in my 30% off package, you can also get your 12-month personal forecast, totally unique to you, both these charts, and will give you searing insights. Please see the link below for more. However, if you don't know your time of birth, my solar package based on the Sun can still give you a considerable extra understanding that goes beyond this zodiac broadcast. So Aquarius, as you come into this month, there's that sparkling alliance between Venus and Mars. But also there is another connection between the Sun and Mercury, which is much sharper in a way, because they're exactly in conjunction on day 1. In traditional astrology, this is known as a cazimi, but for you they're in house 6, very much to do with the Virgoan influence of Mercury, even though they're hosted in Cancer. So Cancer can be about home, family and emotional issues, and obviously Virgo is very much about getting things running in a very precise way. So something on that first day could be to do with your work or a restructuring or a reorganization that actually can work very well. But also, as you come into this month, Jupiter, the planet of growth, is in a great link with the Sun and also with Mercury, and that's going to take us through the first 5 days. That can be very fortunate. So something to do with a property matter or reorganizing where you're living at the current time can be blessed by that, but also the Sun's alliance to your modern ruler of Uranus, which from the 12th to the 20th could see you do something around decluttering or changing your situation in some kind of inventive way, something you have a real gift for. But let's just revisit that alliance between Venus and Mars. Venus in the 7th house is one of its best zones because it governs the sign of Libra, which is the 7th zodiac sign. So this is very much to do with the descendant of the start of the overall zodiac, which begins with Aries. So it helps us to try to find points of harmony, equilibrium, meeting people halfway. It's a really lovely place for Venus to be. And remember, due to the retrograde which begins on the 23rd, it's going to be in your sector of relating right through to the 9th of October. So good things can unfold around relationships, but we do have the full moon which occurs on the 3rd. Now Mercury's tied up in this as well, But the moon is in the weakest part of its cycle, the sign of Capricorn, where it's detrimented, but also for you, that's house 12. If there is any insecurities around your work situation, or you're having to coexist with people that aren't really your cup of tea, you could really feel this, because however much Venus and Mars are helping you to assert your boundaries and be as diplomatic as possible, or trying to engage in a constructive way, it may seem that someone could have some kind of agenda, but whether they'll actually come out and say it to your face is another matter. So unfortunately, that's a full moon which could emphasize hidden enemies or hidden opposition. The movement on the 10th of Mars, however, into the 8th house is very passionate. If you're wanting to improve your financial situation, the chances are your desire to achieve this is really going to step up in quite a strong way in the following 6 weeks. But on the 11th, Mercury replaces Mars in your 7th house. And what I like about Mercury in the 7th is it is a planet, of course, which is exalted in your sign, but also governs the second decan of the sign of Aquarius, so the second 10 degrees. So Mercury for you in your 7th house helps you to use your logic and detachment to view situations, even if you feel that someone's not necessarily behaving in the kind of best way possible. But if there is something that's a bit awkward that comes up on the back of that full moon, the sun's angle to your modern ruler of Uranus, which is exact on the 14th, but goes on from the 12th to the 20th, can see you dazzle people because of your ability to see things outside the box. However, the 17th is a truly important day because the true North Node inverses back into the sign of Aries, and it hasn't been in this location for you for 17 years. Now for the next year and a half, your ideas, but also mode of expressing those ideas, is given even greater elevation and vibration. So expect to be sharing lots of the best parts of your thinking, and people can be very receptive during that period. Unfortunately, the Sun goes into an opposition with Pluto. Pluto back in your 12th house, in an opposition with the Sun in house 6. A similar kind of vibe to the full moon, where if there are things that still need to be resolved that relate to your past, relate to your emotional and mental health, relate to dealing with people that you find rather tricky to be around, it is going to come up during this 6-day period. And also concurrent to this, your traditional ruler Saturn goes into a crunching opposition with Mars. Remember, Mars in the 8th house can be a lot to do with desire. It's a very scorpionic influence, so can be to do with sex, can be to do with intensity, it can be to do with ownership, and it can be where we're most invested. Whereas Saturn, of course, is a very cool, even cold influence. In house 2, that's everyday money. Mars is what you want it to be going forwards. If there is something inhibiting you financially, or around some kind of romantic situation where it just isn't quite working as you would like, it could show itself at the heart of this month, and maybe a load of stuff will come into the open that's very painful to hear, but actually once you do hear it, it can actually provide a lot of information which you can then work with to your advantage. And you're given a lot of support in this week 3 because the Sun actually forges a very healing link with Neptune, so it's not all bad. I think a lot of it, this is an influence, these two oppositions, that's going to affect everybody. Just be aware that if there's parts of your past, your history, your shadow side of your nature that you've not quite come to terms with, haven't integrated into your being and accepted them. We all have faults, and this is asking you to just embrace them, or embrace your fears and worries and not judge them. If you take that kind of approach, if some information is shared or you become more conscious of who hasn't got your best interests at heart, at least you will know where you stand. But the Sun powering into Leo on the 23rd can be very good for you because it can help you to assert your boundaries, but also set out your stall on what you want around relationships. Venus goes retrograde in Leo on the same day, and perhaps there is going to be some rethinking around certain involvements or your attitude to relationships in general, or you're going to rethink what you actually need, whether you're in one or not. So it could be quite a deep period, but your relationship sector, I think, on the whole, is blessed this month. It's more about understanding the things that will come out are things that are niggling and are already there. They're just not in plain view. And I think because the Cancerian energy is asking you to be very pragmatic and live in the more material sphere, but the full moon in Capricorn and Pluto in Capricorn are nudging into the open some things that you may be reluctant to grapple with, but once they're out, it will be much easier because you'll be much clearer about where you stand. And I feel that on the 28th, when Mercury makes its way into your 8th house, whatever people have been saying to you, you can start to understand what they really meant as this month draws to a close. But equally, it could be that someone's attraction to you or fascination with you could manifest itself this month in a big way. Perhaps someone's been observing you in a rather smitten way, but has not verbalized or communicated that yet. So this month in some ways is a bit like the High Priestess card in the tarot. I think there's something you don't know at the moment that's going to come out into the open, and once it does, at least there will be that transparency, and I think then you have lots there that helps you to engage with other people in a very positive way, and that could see an exciting development in your love life, or you could reach a new accord in an existing relationship, even if it does go through some bumpy moments this month. It's been a real pleasure being with you. Thank you so much for joining me. Please like, comment or subscribe.